Welcome to Daditude episode 10. Yes, already. I think it's D in French. I promised Jericho I wouldn't flub the intro, so here I go on the high wire without a net. Dang it, I flubbed that. My wonderful, beautiful, I'm going to call you beautiful, my beautiful co-host, the great Jericho Green. We're here to give you some Daditude, to give you all the information about what it is and why it's so important to be a dad and to celebrate that fatherly family culture. How you doing, Jericho? What's going on, man?
I'm great, man. I'm still reeling over the lie you told me that you wouldn't flub anything. You flubbed, so I'll never forget that.
I think that'll be my signature move. I'll flub the intro every time, and we'll just see how creative I can get with the screw up at the beginning or something.
Mother flubber. Yeah.
What's up, my ninjas? Welcome to Daditude. You know, just skate real close to the edge of offending everyone.
Come in hot, man, every time.
But that's the thing about a line. You know the lines in society. You do love to run right up to the line and look over it.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think everyone does. Or poke it. So, is this real? Is this line real? Is this?
It's like when someone tells you, now don't turn around. The first thing you do, turn around.
Spin around. I've always thought, since I was in elementary school, that saying heads up was unwise. There's a volleyball, a baseball, something going up, and it's going to presumably maybe fall on someone's head. Isn't it worse to look up and catch a softball or a baseball with your teeth, knocking them out of your face? Wouldn't it be better to say cover your head instead of heads up, right? I mean, I thought this as a youngster.
Cover your head, that's an extra word. So time is of the essence. And hopefully somebody will say something before you go, and the ball is right there. Like, hopefully they can.
Heads up, you're like, mash right in the mouth. I mean, that's not.
But heads up is, it could be anything. Heads up covers a lot of things.
I guess brevity, as the bard said, Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Brevity is the soul of wit. So
I don't think it's the time to say, excuse me, sir, when you get a second, if you could watch out, look, you got to get right to the point. So
let me ask you a question. Do you think it'd hurt to get hit in the head with the ball? Well, if you agree with that idea and you don't want to get hit in the head with the ball, you might want to look up, but then also put your hand in front of your face. The person's dead by then. By the time you do all that.
They're dead, man.
So I see why they say heads up.
Yeah.
And whenever I heard heads up, I would just go like this when I would hear it. I wouldn't fall for. I'm not looking up. I'm not. I don't want to catch. I think David Mikulik in middle school, not even kidding, got a shot put in the head at PE.
Oh yeah.
He lived. He had a metal ball in the head, dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, those are 10, 12 pounds.
Oh.
Like a cannonball. It was like getting hit in the head with somebody throwing a cannonball at your head. I saw somebody get hit in the head with a discus, which is probably around the same weight, but like a saucer, like
it's like a solid plastic is what we had at my middle school.
Yeah, they're metal in the middle, and then they have a plastic ring around them. But it's like a flying, like somebody threw a metal plate, like it's a dish at your head.
World's worst episode of like Mortal Kombat, the TV show or something. Just flinging.
The guy, and I'm still best friends with the perpetrator to this day.
Oh, really?
But he was screwing around. It was during track practice after school, and there was this star football player, all around nice guy. Like this guy came out of a made-for-TV movie.
Right.
Very kind to everybody, great athlete, good grades.
Great hair, great chin, sweet girlfriend,
Yeah, he's helping tear down the soccer nets, and everything. So he's up on a ladder and he's taking the nets down. My friend, the Leo that I mentioned in the last episode, he's screwing around and he goes like this, and the discus comes out of the back of his hand instead of the front. It's supposed to come off of your index finger. It came off of his pinky. So it goes completely the wrong direction, hits the guy's name was Gabe, hits him right in the back of his head. He falls off the ladder unconscious onto the grass, blood coming out of the back of his head. Now, I mentioned before, this guy's a star football player. We're freshmen. This guy's a senior. He's bigger than life. Letterman jacket, loaded, right? And so, of course, being the good friends that we are, for the rest of the day and all the next morning, we teased him saying, dude, he's going to kick your fucking ass when he gets to school. He's going to beat you. Because he was so scared. Right, all the color just drained from Leo's face. He just knew he was going to get his face kicked in by this dude. And so there was this long walkway that led into the high school, and we hung out like in a little courtyard at the bottom of that walkway. So here we go. We see Gabe's car go by, and he gets out of his car, and his head's all bandaged like he's in World War I. Like his head's wrapped in a bandage.
He had just spent the night in the hospital writing like Civil War letters to his mother.
Oh, mother, my dearest mother.
My dearest mother, things have not gone the way I had wished at the soccer field.
We lost half of the platoon to,
discus attack by the Confederates. If things don't turn around, I fear that the Union may be lost. And then you hear the violin come in.
Still my love, Penelope. So he comes walking down the walkway, head all bandaged up, and he walks up to Leo. And this guy, at the time, he had to be like 6'3", 6'4". He was a defensive lineman. He was gigantic. And he walks up to Leo, and there wasn't shit we could do except, get beat up with him. And he walks up to him, and he goes, you're the one who hit me with the discus yesterday, huh? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, it's cool, man. It was an accident. It's all good. And he shakes his hand and walks away. Oof, we all needed to change the shorts after that one because we thought it was going to be beat down central, but turns out Gabe was a good guy.
That's right. Guys named Gabe tend to be great guys.
He was cool, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll one more. I can't top yours. This is less than yours, but it's still horrible. 7th grade, Devin Pritz, white guy. What was the Chinese kid's name? I don't remember. We were doing like softball at PE. Chinese guy, what the fuck? I can't remember his name. He got too close when Devin was batting. Devin came down with the aluminum bat on the follow through.
Ping.
And you hear what sounds like someone hitting celery with a bat. He hit this poor kid, not in the eyeball, but right in the nose corner, right there. Just this disgusting noise. Kid just goes down. And we had this Coach Sheehan, an Irish guy, real short, compact, muscular, thin, wiry guy with a beard. He was our PE coach, and he just had all this energy, and he just picked the kid up in his arms and just ran up to like the nurse in the office and all that. He didn't even talk to us kids. Yeah, he was our teacher. He just left us there with the baseball bats and everything. He just grabbed the kid and ran. Guy was fine, had a black eye or whatever the next day. It was one of the worst noises I've heard though. Just crunch.
Oh man.
You got too close. You can't get close to the batter. You got to stay away.
Got too close, man. Back up, dummy.
Nasty.
I bet he never got too close again.
No, I doubt it. Mm-hmm. I bet he went on to become like a baseball umpire. So he could just call strikes on people. That's his revenge. It's like 3 feet off the plate. He's all strong. You're out. He's calling all the batters Devin. He's like, my name's not Devin. So I don't care, Devin. Get out of here.
Who got too close this time, Devin? Who are you talking to, man?
And poor Devin. Oh, he was a nice kid. He just looked crushed. I mean, the other kid got crushed, but Devin he felt terrible.
Poor Devin.
So, but the noise, I can still hear it in my head. Just
crunch. Oh, yeah. Shit slightly, like that doesn't leave you.
Like slightly wet, slightly crunchy noise. Awful. Awful. So the moral of the story is don't get hit in the face, kids.
Yeah, step back, jackass.
Yeah.
I remember being at the mall and a little kid was running, a little toddler, and he fell and hit his head on the ground. That'll stick with you. He ended up being okay.
Okay, one more and we'll move on to today's subject. I slipped at the pool when I was 7 with my cousins. I was 7 and they were like, my brother's a year older, my other cousin's 2 years old, my other cousin's 6 years older. And I slipped from standing, and I've been tall my whole life. So at 7 years old, I was nearly 5 feet tall. So that's a big fall. and I hit the back of my head on the cement at the pool,
God.
and it knocked me out. I remember just running, slipping, and then like coming to, and my head was throbbing. And Rickson, that's an interesting name, Filipino kid that was a good friend of my cousin John. They were like over me looking like, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" And I never went to the doctor, never even told my mom or anything. But that was age like 7 or 8 years old. For like the next 4 years of my life, every once in a while, I'd like space out. Like we'd be outside playing street football, or I'd be inside watching cartoons, or I could be doing any activity. It went away when I was like 12 or 13. But I'd be like, what are we doing out here? Like, I know we've been like playing football, but it feels like that was yesterday. And it would happen like every month or 2 or 3. I would just have this episode where I knew what I'd been doing for the last hour, but it seemed like a dream or something. Like maybe that was yesterday. It was a very weird thing that would happen.
Dude, that was your brain trying to repair itself. Jeez, man. You know, well, one more.
Okay.
So now to this day, if we're at a pool, I'm watching. If my kids run, you get one warning and then you're out. I went to school with a kid named Sean Scruggs, and when he was 4 years old, he was running around a swimming pool and he slipped and fell and hit his head on the ground, and it made him mentally handicapped for the rest of his life. He would shake. He would shake uncontrollably all the time. Like he couldn't hold anything. He was always like this. And I remember in elementary school, you know, you do like the student of the week thing. On his, he explained how that happened to him and how he got the way he is. So,
but he had good cognition. He could think and speak. He just had
he could think and speak. Yeah, he was just shaking the whole time. Oh man, that stuck with me. And I was in like 2nd grade, 3rd grade, but I never forgot that, man. And to this day.
How often do you hear at the pool? Walk.
Oh, dude, I'm on it. You about 2 steps, walk. If I tell you one more time, you're done.
My thing was, before my parents got divorced, my dad has a big ranch in Colorado, and that's our house we lived in. We had a pool. I've known how to swim since I was like 3 years old, and I've known not to run at the pool. When I slipped and hit my head, I wasn't running. I just slipped on a puddle. I knew better than to run, and I still slipped. So that's even more reason not to run. Because slipped fucking walking. Oh.
So fragile.
Are we like doing a recording or a show, man? Like, no.
Who are you?
It was the weirdest thing because I knew everything and everyone, but it felt like it was all like yesterday or something. It felt like a dream. Like, what are we doing out here playing football? Is this what we're doing?
Jeez.
It was a really weird thing. It went on for a few years. It was very bizarre.
I'm sure your parents might have want to know that.
I'm fine. Hey, I literally was in the gifted and talented program. Maybe it unlocked something in my head. maybe extra smart.
So basically, hit your head on the pavement. See if it unlocks anything.
Yeah. No.
You never know, people.
I disavow that comment.
You never know.
Anyways. I was in Vegas. As I said in the last episode, I was in Vegas just recently because I'm always in Vegas because I love it. I don't even gamble or drink, and I love Las Vegas. But anyway, I was there to celebrate my wedding anniversary with my wife. And I got to talking to a friend I had met up with there and my wife, and we had lunch with a really nice couple. And he's a detective. And we're talking about, you know, the people and the criminals and the drug. And Vegas has, that's a lot of homeless and drug problems. Most big cities do. Sometime around Obama's presidency, that stuff seemed to exploded everywhere. But anyway, all the crime that goes on, all the bad stuff you see, all the cultural decay, all the OnlyFans people, all the, you know, drug addicted people in the streets, all this stuff you see of the society just falling apart. Every time you see an instance of it, ask yourself this: would that person think that, say that, or do that if they had a dedicated, hardworking, loving, masculine father in their life for decades? Now, the answer isn't always going to be no, but it will usually be no. And that's the best you could do in life is probability, because nothing is 100% guaranteed. But if we got fathers back into being the main driving force in family culture, we would mitigate so much of this. And I thought it was just such an interesting thought experiment. What do you think of that, Jerko? Like, you see degeneracy and then ask yourself, would they think or do that if they had a dad the first 20 years of their life, loving them full time?
I think the answer would be no, they wouldn't. And having your dad, even if your dad is present and committed and doing all the things he's supposed to do, it's not a guarantee. Because we all know somebody, you know, 2 siblings, same family. One of them was a Boy Scout. The other one ended up being a psychotic murderer or something like that. So it's not 100%, but boy, does it help. Right. Boy, is it such a springboard into life, and the statistics to the contrary are frightening. And what people turn into without that fatherly presence is frightening. And some people might have somebody in their life that kind of picks up the slack, that lessens that blow. But if your father's there and present and doing everything he's supposed to be and being the example that he's supposed to be, your chances are you have a great chance of being okay in life. Right. That doesn't mean you're going to be rich and all these things. You can be, but you're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. You're going to live a good life. You're going to live a normal life. You're not going to be a criminal. You're going to have good values and morals. And chances are when you create your family, you're going to pass that on to them. So having a father in your life is just about everything. And the streets, as the detective you were talking about, I'm sure his career is littered with stories of people who didn't have their father in their life. And showing up to scenes in the squalor and filth and violence in these neighborhoods, that I'm sure he worked in, because that's where the police usually are, because that's where all the bad shit is. The lack of fathers is probably maddening. I'm sure he probably wanted to find the fathers of these children that are in these situations and wring their neck.
That's something that gets my goat. I'm interrupting you. I'm sorry, but this gets my goat about deadbeat dads. Absolutely. Adam Carolla talks about on his, just you have kids and you just move to Florida and you just never see them again, never talk to them. Like,
crazy.
How? And I know you don't know because you're a dedicated father.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm a dedicated father. But if we had to theorize and guess, besides the obvious of selfishness and weakness, how could men do that? How can they knock women up and just say, hey, good luck? And like, I talked to someone the other day that said, didn't know my dad till I was 18, never met him till I was 18. How can men do something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. What is your guess? Because you don't do it, and neither do I. Wow, it's so evil. It's so wrong.
I think some men take the path of least resistance. You'll hear some men say, well, the mom, she made it so hard for me, and she was such a bitch and wouldn't let me see him, and da-da-da-da-da, so I just gave up.
But I'm like, it's not about you. Be miserable for him.
Yeah, man. It's not good enough.
For him.
There's no law that says you have to leave the state. There's no law that says they're in California and you got to move to New York. Like, be as close as you can to your children. Don't give up on your children.
In fact, it's usually illegal, or they need like a court approval for the custodial parent to move out of the state, or like more than a certain amount of miles away from the other parent. So there's not even a legal excuse for the parents to be away from the kids.
Yeah. And if you have some crazy baby mama, and they exist, women can be very vindictive and evil.
No.
But sorry, dog. This is you stuck your dick in her. You made these kids, so you made your bed. You got to lay down in it. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's go there.
The alternative is horrifying for those kids.
Right. Okay, so let's go there. So the issues we're working with here is these. Let's address this. These crazy, evil mothers, restraining orders, lying about the men hurting them, and all this stuff. And I've heard some horror stories from men where they got lied. Obviously, some of it's legitimate, real. But I'm talking about when the women go out of their way to ruin men's lives, and we know that's real. You can't go back in time. But you brought up a good point. You said, "Hey, you chose to stick your ding dong in there." What? It seems like such an obvious answer. But if you're giving advice, your son, see, we always personalize that. We won't reveal names or ages. I have a son. You have a son. Would you want this for them? Would you want your son to have a child with a horrible, insane woman? So how do you stop that as a father? Because if you can cut that off at the pass, you won't have to deal with the ramifications of a lying, conniving woman trying to get you and do all this stuff to you. How do we stop men from putting their willy in like just the worst women possible? How do we stop them?
Well, it's tough because those women are usually the ones that leave the scratches in your back. They're usually pretty good at what they do. But all you can do is tell your son, give him the benefit of your knowledge, explain to him if you know somebody who's in that situation, like, hey, talk to Mr. So-and-so or Uncle So-and-so. He'll tell you. And that's all you can do. Is
with that 1,000-yard stare as he lights Marlboro.
Look what it did to him. Look at that. Look at his eyes. He's dead inside. You know, but yeah, all we can do is try to tell them, and your presence, and you seeing them interact with your mother, and then seeing, oh, my mom's not psychotic, so I picked the right one. But if your son, you know, you can tell him everything you want, but when you send him out in the world and it's just him and his dingus, he's going to make some bad decisions. But if you do make a bad decision and you do get caught up with some psychotic woman who's just unreal, just unbelievable, too bad. You had a kid with her.
Yeah.
Your kid needs you. Your kid needs you. Your presence is critical. Like, I'm talking, it's vital. Like air and water, your child needs you. So you're going to have to weather the storm of the crazy bitch, record every interaction, every time, like a body cam. Every time you meet up with her, have it recorded.
We should sell that. That'll be official merchandise for this channel, is the Dad GoPro. You just attach it to your forehead. You know the GoPro, those little cameras that like surfers and skateboarders, skydivers. It's the single dad GoPro. You just put it on your forehead and you come over to her apartment to pick up the kid, you know. So
as soon as you get out of the car, that shit is on. You do what you have to do, whatever it is, whatever mountains you have to climb, whatever obstacles you need to blow through. That's what you have to do, because your child growing up without you is child abuse. You can't do that.
And here's the black pill. Nobody wants to hear this, but the truth sets us free. There's two choices here. You avoid the pain and the hostility and the complications and the absolute mess this psycho bitch wants to make of your life, and she will complicate your life and harm you in some legally, socially, whatever. Or your kid grows up with neglect, which scientific research shows is the worst abuse a human can suffer, is neglect. And they are devastated the rest of their life, and they go on to live a life of failure, misery, passive-aggressive rage, frustration, and ultimately just self-destruction. Do you want that for your beautiful little baby, or would you rather take the punishment and the beating, metaphorically, from the crazy woman? I would rather it be me all day. You know, I'll take that so they don't have to. Shouldn't that just be a fatherly instinct that you would suffer all of it for them? You know, it's not America. Let's be fair to these men. It's easy for us to say, we're not dealing with that. It is easy to say. So many things in life, they are very easy to say. We say we'd do it. I believe I would, but I don't know because I haven't done it, you know? And it must, I have some I won't, you know, expose people's business here, but I have some very close people to me, maybe family, maybe friend, I won't say, who are dealing with this kind of stuff, you know, fake restraining order crap and all this. And it looks like hell. Every time I talk to her, she did this and she lied to the authorities about that. And she made and I know the person, I know that she's lying because I know them and I know what they have and haven't done. It looks like unreal what some of these ex-women do. It does. And do you know guys like this that are going through it?
Yeah, just unspeakable, unimaginable things that these women put them through. But you have to share some of the blame because you laid down with, you knew that bitch was crazy when you met her. You knew it. And here's a fail safe. Here's a must do, not a how to, but a must do. If she doesn't have a good relationship with her father or she don't know him, don't mess with her. Because chances are she got some serious daddy issues and all she's going to do is try to work them out on you and you ain't her daddy. So it's never going to work. If she doesn't have a strong fatherly presence in her life, don't mess with her. Don't. There's other women. They're not the only ones.
So many guys in the modern feminist world of fatherlessness are set up to be the perfect puzzle piece for those women, and I'll tell you why. These guys, didn't have a father or a strong father of their own. They're raised by a mother, and what do we know about the guys raised by the mom? They're their mommy's little boyfriend. They're the substitute husband for the mom, and they grew up in a stance of, I make mommy happy. I save mommy. What do they do when they go into the dating and relationship world? Those women they date are mommy that needs to be saved. It's a broken woman that needs to be saved. So they're always trying to save the exotic dancer, save the drug addict, save the whatever, the fallen angel, the angels with dirty faces. That's who they're trying to save. And I've seen it happen over and over people I know, I won't say who, and it's a tragedy. It does. You're not
And
going
I
to
know,
save them, dude. You're not. People have to want to change. You can't change them.
it's like drug addicts. They could
Right.
be pissing themselves, toothless, hepatitis, all that shit. Nothing until they finally wake up one day and say, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
And it's terrible, because if it was just you with this crazy bitch for the rest of your life, I wouldn't care. That's your fault.
Right.
But when you bring another person into this life, things have to change. And no matter what, man, you got to stick it out. You messed up. Boy, you messed up bad. But you got to stick it out, because your kid shouldn't pay for your mistakes. Your kid shouldn't have their life a huge hole in their heart and their soul because you made a mistake. That's not fair, man. That's not right. And you have a chance to break the cycle. You have a chance to weather that storm and show your kid you are worth it. I didn't waver. I didn't run. I stayed right here. And when that kid gets older, they're going to realize mommy is knucking futs. Right. You were right, Dad. She is a psychopath. And how sweet it will be, like James Taylor said, how sweet it is when you hear those words from your child and you know that you stuck it out. So you would be there to hear your child say, Dad, I'm glad you stuck it around. Mommy really is nuts. It'll all be worth it.
Well, let's look at the three characters in our tragedy, our Greek tragedy that we're telling here. The crazy evil woman, the deadbeat divorced dad, and the totally mentally traumatized child. The problem each one of them has is the exact same problem. She's a crazy evil bitch because she didn't have a dad validate her. He's a weak man who would try to save a fallen angel because he didn't have a dad validate him. Now the next generation kid is going to be ruined and grow up to repeat the cycle because they didn't have a dad. On Daditude, the point we're going to beat over and over, and you're going to finally accept it. Those of you watching, when you hear this, you know it's true. Dads are everything here. Mothers are just as important. But for the problems you're seeing, the people laying in their own filth and taking, drugs on the sidewalk, and the people doing this crime and this and that and all, it's all goes back to one thing: fathers. This is something mothers cannot do for children who will then become adults that you will have to live with. You have to live with these people. I have to live with these people. Some of us are these people, and it's like fathers are it's the unifying theory of everything is good, strong fathers. And we don't even know what that means. I know what it means. Jericho knows what it means, but society doesn't even know what a good man looks like anymore. And that's horrible. And it starts here. There's that old saying, be the change you want to see in the world, right? There's a Bible verse. As for me and my house, we'll serve the Lord. And I think if you want to change this, it starts at home, and it starts with you personally. So
everything starts at home. Yeah.
Right.
Everything starts at home because everybody starts at home. Everybody's a little kid at home. That's where we all come from before we go out in the world. And I'll leave it on this note. 75% of inmates, juvenile and adult, come from single parent homes. Right.
And I did a report in college. There was a class to graduate from my university called College Research Paper. You could pick any topic you wanted, and the entire semester was research and writing a paper. So because of my problems and my divorce that my parents had when I was 8 and how that affected me, and, I was a young father at the time. I was 21 or 22, got married at 18. Why do you think I had a kid at 18? Didn't have a father around growing up, right? Well, one thing I found in college research paper is you name it: jail, not graduating high school, teenage pregnancy, drugs, gangs, every bad thing you can think of for young people, the probability of it, which we said at the beginning of our show today, probability is what you have to go on in life, because we can't be certain, but we can be probabilistic. We don't care so much if something's possible, we care if it's probable. And those are very different things. The probability of bad things happening to young people skyrockets when they don't have a father. You want to know what's crazy? When children are raised with just their father, like a single father with no mother, those things don't go up. People raised by just their dad or a dad and mom have the same statistics to graduate high school, avoid teenage pregnancy, drugs, gangs. But when they're raised by single mothers, this stuff goes out of control because there's a sex difference. Women are not inferior. I'm never going to say that on this show, but they are totally different from men. And an easy heuristic for all of you to understand men and women, they're mirror images. My hands are the exact same thing, but they're opposites of each other. That's how men and women are. We're puzzle. Penis, vagina. I'll just go right there. They're mirror images of each other.
I'm listening.
Exactly. Don't give me an erotic. Save that for your wife.
Okay.
That was a little too much of a turn on. No, don't talk to me like that. But we are mirror images of each other, men and women, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. We're mirror images. So women cannot give the validation human beings need for mental health. They can't. They're incapable of it. They can't do it because your mama will love you no matter what. And that doesn't tell you the truth about who you are and what you can be. She grew you in her body. A true miracle. Of course, she will never see your flaws. And there's a purpose for that. And it isn't wrong the way your mother loves you. That's a necessary love you need as an infant. Infants need to be loved unconditionally. Toddlers, little children. Start getting a little bigger. Now you need your dad to tell you that's bullshit. We don't do that. Yeah. Mom's not really going to tell you that. Okay. Why do you think the ghetto and the barrio look the way they look? Because mom does not respect the children.
Yeah, and the gangbangers who are recruiting these kids, they're out there looking for a father figure. You know, that's right. That's how it is. And they see you're not getting what you need at home. You're hungry, you're dirty, you're lonely because mom's not there or grandma's raising you. And you see that man and you think, oh, that's what a man is, that fear that they have from everybody, the violence. That's how it's supposed to be. Okay, because you don't know shit as a kid. That's why you can go like this and pull a quarter from behind a kid's ear and their mind is, how did you do that? Because kids don't know shit. They're very gullible. They're susceptible to believe anything you tell them. So when those predators are out there looking for them, those gang members and shit like that, that's why they're so easy to find. And if no one's told you out there, dads watching episode 10 of Daditude, if nobody's told you, you are crucial.
Right. Now,
you are crucial.
What I want to talk about on our next episode, let's hope we remember, I want to talk about the MGTOW guys, the men going their own way. They say, forget it. Women are too evil. Society's too stacked against men. Fuck it. I'm not going to participate in marriage, relationships, nothing. I've mocked these guys. I called them pussies and quitters and all this. And I think I might be a little bit wrong about this. And we'll get to that in a future episode. But I have thought more and more and more about this. And I thought, well, the courts are stacked against them. The laws are stacked against them. The culture, the pop culture, everything is stacked against them. They're playing a game they almost can't win. And you have to have a decent answer for them. You can't just tell them, hey, there's nothing to eat but, rotten, maggot-infested food, so eat it. Like, that's not an answer for people. So I think we need to dive deeper. And please leave a comment in the comments below if you're MGTOW, one of those guys going monk mode, going his own way. Because Jericho and I, we are ignorant to this. We have wonderful wives and wonderful children. We don't suffer crazy evil women, and we're both ignorant to what is that like, a woman taking your kids and suing you and lying about you in court. We don't know. We intellectually understand. I can read it and understand it. I don't know it. I never lived it. So I want that perspective because that's the big problem, and I've never lived it, and I want to help you guys solve it. So I'd love to get into that in a future episode. Maybe we could bring on a guest or something that knows about this shit because we don't know. I know some people that know a lot about this stuff. Lived it. And maybe we could talk to them because we need an answer. What we can't do as people is just leave shit how it is because it's an inferno and we need to put
something's got to change.
Out, So, okay. Any last thoughts on that? I like that. It is. Ask yourself any problem concept you see that's bad. Ask yourself if they had a father for decades, would this be happening? No. So we know our solution. Now let's find how to get there. Anything else, Jericho?
No, you said it perfectly, man. Let's
all right.
Reconvene in episode 11.
All right, on episode 11 of
Daditude.
Right, we only did that one on time. Okay, guys, hit the link, subscribe, all that great stuff. Hit the like, all of it. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.